I'm surrounded by some very well-dressed people for 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I mean, I expect no less considering the kind of world that you come from. But the other thing is, I'm also really surprised that not only did y'all show up for the interview today, which is in the afternoon, but you also showed up like early. You come from the world of nightlife. Okay, let's do a quick little round table introduction here, although I'm pretty sure like it's no stranger, the faces that we have on camera today.
My name is Bobby. Also, I DJ and I used to run a nightclub, and we do pop-up parties right now. I have a retail outlet, Super Freight Boutique.
Well, you also kind of did style someone who did 4 nights at the National Stadium.
Yeah. I actually styled Lady Gaga, 2009.
So I styled Cher last week,
2009.
Yeah.
2000.
I saw her tits in the changing room.
Oh, what was that? Was it for like the Singtel shows like back in the day, or?
I don't remember. It was for a newspaper, Straits Times urban section. They had that fold out.
Right.
I think no more urban anymore.
I think Noel called me up. Will you be able to style her? Cause like the things that we brought, we're not very sure whether it would suit her, and like you would be the best person to try and put something on her.
Yeah.
She put it on. She said, "I love it so much," and then she wanted to buy it off me, but I said it's been used. Then it's like, oh, so I need to have it. So I said, okay, I'll sell it to you, Madame Tussauds. They did a wax figure of Lady Gaga. I think she donated that piece in Madame Tussauds. So it's like, ooh, okay.
I'm Stefan. For the parties, generally, I look after like the partnerships, collaborations, guest relations, PR type things.
Yeah.
So.
In the last episode, Samjo was talking about go-go boys and stuff, and like how they seem like the most extroverted people, but actually a lot of them are introverts.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if like the running of a club, in public perceptions, like all of them are like crazy ravers, but then there's also a big pool of people that they just want to stay behind the scenes and they just run the operations of it.
I think that's
so you're the face
why
of it.
we're all like complementary.
Yeah. Stefan also does the budgeting.
She's the numbers girl.
She's the numbers
P&L.
girl.
Oh my god. And Wolf Boy. I think we matched on Tinder once before.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I matched with a lot of people on Tinder. They become friends.
But it was very, very sweet when I saw him on Tinder. I was like, oh, it's like an old friend, 'cause we've also known each other for quite almost a decade now. There's a period of time where Samjo was a journalist.
Yes.
And then he was right next door, and I think I borrowed outfits for a shoot or something.
Yeah, you did.
And that
was
was
a shark shirt dress.
Yes, which I love.
I remember everything.
And he's being very conservative today with the jacket. He initially showed up with like his bulging biceps, but he decided to be modest.
I need to keep up with them with the outfits lah.
Yeah, add a bit of color. And then meanwhile, I'm just a t-shirt. I actually have a jacket, It's well documented in this podcast that I have not partied or clubbed in a very, very long time. But the ones who do, which is pretty much everyone else in my life, when they tell me on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it's like, hey, you should come for Baby Boy. Like, that's the one thing they keep telling me to. And then Samjo got me to perform as Jay-Z to his Mariah Carey.
How fun was that, right?
And every song that the DJ played was the music that I loved. I actually had a couple of my straight friends come down and they were like, Josh, this is more exciting than straight clubs.
We've been doing Baby Boy particularly for 8 years now. Right?
Yeah, 47
parties through over 8 years. And we've obviously had comments like that before. And to us, it's still so surreal to kind of like hear that. And we're just like, oh no, and we're just so thankful and that people feel this way. And everything that we do literally comes from, in a cheesy cliche way, from our hearts, We just did things that we wanted, that we felt like was right. And it's just what we wanted to do for the community as well. So 8 years, people are still coming to support us and still loving it. Yeah.
I remember the Butter Factory days.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah, I've been to Butter Factory once.
Okay.
Once. And it was me and a very young Hirzi I think in the early days of Muna
Hirzi.
Hirzi, yeah, and a few friends, and we were a bunch of early 20-year-olds, and we were trying to find a place to go for our countdown party. And we were very inexperienced, so we all met at like Clarke Quay area. The plan was to go to Butter Factory for countdown. But there were so many roadblocks
Yeah.
to try to get to
New
the
Year's Eve,
club.
the
So we were
fireworks.
like, shit, it's 11:59 and we're still stuck in the crowd trying to get even. How do we get across the road to the Butter Factory area? Like we were right across it near the CBD area itself. And we were like freaking out. And it's like, our moment's not happening. Our moment's not happening. Oh my God, our moment's come. And then 3, 2, 1. And they were stuck on the street. And it was the most unglam thing. And bless his heart, Hirzi was so annoyed at me. He was like, girl, I trusted you. I was like, I know, I didn't know the time would be so... yeah, so when we finally got to the club, it was already past midnight already. So, like...
Did you get in?
I did.
Okay.
Okay.
I did. But by then, everything was over. I was so shattered that I didn't have that New Year's party. I've always wanted that. For anyone that has, and I'm sure many Singaporeans, queer or not, have a lot of fond memories of Butter Factory, but if they had that question mark on their mind that they never really got a resolution to, what happened to Butter Factory, if you're comfortable with sharing?
Oh, I mean, it just got too expensive. It was not sustainable.
But to the average person who would go to Butter Factory, they'd know it's always long queue, it's always packed.
Yeah.
So how is it possible?
Rental, rising overheads. So it's just got too crazy.
You know, I know we have like a section in the government that handles culture, right? And on behalf of culture, staples like Butter Factory, I kind of wish were preserved, right? Because it's such a nice name as well, Butter Factory, and it's nostalgic. I sometimes feel like I wish there was someone to govern culture, to ensure that play is still around, to ensure
Like a nightlife.
that tantric still exists at some point because it meant something to us, the same way we preserve landmarks in Singapore, right? Baby Boy as well. I think that's also really important. So just like I mentioned, Butter Factory is a very nice name. Who came up with Baby Boy as a name? And any relation to Beyonce?
Yes. Yeah, it was me.
I had a feeling.
It was
it was you.
It's so funny because I also had a conversation with Bobby. I still remember, I think we were out at Projector one night.
Yeah.
And we were just talking and I was like, you know what what I really miss and what I think we should maybe do is like a queer hip-hop and R&B night. And then the first thing he said was, let's do it.
Because prior to that, when Butter Factory closed down, with Mismatch, we were doing Mismatch pop-ups everywhere.
Yeah.
We really miss the hip-hop and R&B vibe of Butter Factory main room. Me and Ritz have always been dreaming of a queer hip-hop and R&B night.
We've got some gifts.
Yes.
I'm hoping they're gifts
Yes.
and not just props.
Yes. Our special Baby Boy edition fans that we actually created.
It's designed
And
by Howie.
yeah, so our longtime collaborator and designer for all of our amazing artwork, every single edition.
Are we gonna be like 4 queer people just like on a mic, just like while discussing like
we
talking
can
shit?
do that. Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
a really big part of what we do is try as much to also support the amazing local talent and acts that we have
Yes.
across the art of drag, dance, and so many other
Art forms, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just like waiting for the right moment to clack. Does anyone interrupt? Yes.
Yeah. So that one's fun. That one's cute.
Yes.
We should do an episode where we go into your closet and then we just like go through like all these like
Oh
archives.
my-
Oh, this was worn by Christina Aguilera from
How much
Bionic
time
Tour.
do you have for
Right?
that?
That would be
the
such a
entire
fun-
archive.
Yeah. Have you
Everything's in boxes though, right?
Have you
Yeah,
been
everything
to
is boxes. Like right now at home, there's like 37 boxes. Handover from Butter Factory days, and then like whole lifetime.
Are you gonna will it to someone? I think
don't know
it's
what
important
do.
to put it in
I'm
your.
dying. I don't have space.
I'm a culture person, so I'm just like everything represents something. Everything must be kept in a warehouse somewhere to preserve
Yeah.
for generations. So back into the conversation on Baby Boy. I do want to get like personal to try to better understand each of you, and how y'all got started. But I think the first thing that I want to also throw on the table is managing what you do and also maintaining that friendship.
We work together quite
Quite
kind
well.
of flows.
Yeah. We're kind of like a well-oiled machine, knowing each other for so many years. And it's just that we have I guess a separate professional also engagement, right, with each other. And in a way, we've all found our place on what we're working at or what we're working on. There's nothing toxic. There's nothing like, any of that going on. It's just, yeah.
It's just good people coming together, and because y'all are good people, y'all can figure it out, right?
Hope so.
Yeah, really.
Money and fame, or when things start to get popular, even the closest of friends or even the nicest of people have their morals kind of questioned, and then they face those kind of dilemmas as well, and we won't get into stuff like that has happened, but that has happened as well, where it's like you think you trust someone and then you don't.
I guess the root of a lot of these issues actually come from money, right? Usually.
And you're the math person, so
Well, yeah. But, he does accounting.
Yeah.
So I do the
I'm
front
horrible
bit.
in numbers. but
And then
just
he
for
does the
this full
accounting,
disclosure.
Right from the get-go, everything that we've been doing, again, it's never been about money. It's, again, doing what we wanted to do for ourselves and what we felt was kind of like a gap for the community. And we just wanted to do that. And then we just put in whatever connections and, expertise that we have to kind of like pull that all in together. So actually for many years, even though Baby Boy has been running for like 8 years, for many years, we were not charging ticket covers, entries.
We were making loss.
We were making
losses.
Um,
And then we were like, actually, we need to make some money.
yeah,
lah.
I think literally
We cannot keep-
only after COVID, then we started to like make
Charge
money.
a cover charge.
Yeah. And make money. Yeah.
So for anyone that's curious about it, what are your socials so that we can also look out for Baby Boy parties, or if we can find more merch?
Well, we have a website, clubmismatch.com, where you can actually find out a bit more about our other parties as well. And on socials, you can find Baby Boy on Baby Boy Party.
SG.
Yes.
Baby Boy Party SG.
Otherwise, it would literally be a random baby
Oh
boy.
my god,
party.
we get tagged all the time, like random babies.
Like
In,
baby
like-
showers.
Yeah. Or they'll tag their baby.
Oh, we welcome a baby boy, a gender reveal, baby boy.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
I got a text a while back from someone who's like, hey, Josh, Hard Rock Cafe become gay club, right?
Well, no, right? They are not. They are still the institution that they are.
Yeah.
But
They've grown quite a bit. I mean, I think with the Kumar stand-up shows for a period of time as well, I think Riot there
Riot,
for a
Yeah.
period.
yes.
Right, it's still there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Have you guys had any sort of pushback from the public, from people on the outside going like, hey, I came in here on a random Hard Rock Cafe night, but this is totally not what...
Actually, it has happened before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can go either way.
Yeah. It's quite funny.
Because also Hard Rock
it's
is
quite funny.
also to just throw this in there, it's in such a central, iconic location, that Cascaden Road, compared to sort of our gay bars and clubs that are usually in New Road. They're usually in a specific niche section.
We're really thankful and appreciative of Hard Rock, of course, being so open, to have us. And in terms of a venue, they've always been quite ideal also because they are literally set up for performances.
Yeah.
Right. And for us being so performance heavy and for our peak nights, having up to 800-900 people, that space is actually perfect to actually house that capacity and as well as the sort of programming that we do. So, and like we've worked with the team for quite a while now and they're really amazing. Everyone's got like our operations down pat, literally with like the Hard Rock team as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And y'all keep Hard Rock alive. I mean, that spot itself is also very, very iconic for generations.
Prior to Baby Boy we did mismatch there as well, and it took off really well, and it was full house, 700 people. They were very accepting. They are very game to do whatever that we want to do, and from mismatch to Yum Yum Disco Dong to last time was Kitchen Sink, and then Baby Boy.
Yeah,
Right.
all the little pop.
And the first few Baby Boys were we started Baby Boy at Overeasy.
The first Baby Boy was held at Overeasy on Orchard, then
remember that
Overeasy, which
space.
is like a current Shake Shack.
Yeah.
At Liat, right? Herzi was so kind enough to actually be part of our programming for that night. So I'll never
Performance.
forget that. That was really amazing. And also speaking of, because you had this question about whether we had any sort of like backlash, we opened our doors at 10 and actually by like 11, the police came. And they wanted us to like turn down the volume,
It's too
and stuff
loud.
like that. But like,
So neighbors are complaining.
what neighbors? And it's like
Yeah, this is like
commercial space
outside Willock
you
Place
know.
and everything. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
the only thing we could figure out was maybe Ion, but it seems very unlikely because you have
that's
a
so
street-
far away.
Yeah. And you get noise from the traffic, right? Literally being on the main road. So I don't know. It could be a competitor.
Yeah, we feel that it could be a jealous competitor.
Was it Natureland?
It was
Back
not there.
then, no.
There was no nature land back
no
then.
nature land.
My customer
But then
trying to
was
get
Zara.
massage.
Disturbing my peace.
Yeah.
It was still Zara.
We turned down the volume. I mean, from a history of Butter Factory as well, we have our share of noise complaints, so we know well enough we need to turn it down. But also at some point we still need to keep the party going.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act lah.
Yeah. The club space is integral in the best and sometimes worst ways for a queer person, right? Because that is also for many of us. That first time we get to fall in love, that first time we get to express ourselves, that first time where we get to meet someone, the first time when you feel attracted to someone and then you figure out what you're going to do about that. Like, do I go and get that person's number? For some, it can also be a tough space as well. It can be traumatic, it can be difficult. But why are clubs still so important to, especially queer people?
If you remove that portion of nightlife, you will be left with very limited choices to connect or to find your own kind.
Yeah.
Find your tribe.
Find your own tribe.
Yeah, I always feel like nightlife is very important. As a ex-fashion designer, it trickles down to the other parts of culture. You can't just have like something without nightlife. That's what I feel because nightlife, there's music and there are people, like that's where the trends are from, because it's from the streets, right? Yeah, and fashion is like a lifestyle. Like, what are you gonna wear to the club, etc. And one cannot exist without the other. That's what I feel.
It is the same for many cultures and many territories as well. I mean, you look at the New York nightlife and how that inspired like a whole movement, right? Even you look at Bangkok, right? I think when many of us were very young going to Bangkok, the first thing was like, oh my God, what are the gay clubs like? Or when tourists travel around the world, they ask as well, like, where are the gay clubs? We want to know what the scenes is like.
Which is why I guess that kind of like formed our own DNA, and that stemming from what Bobby has done with Club Mismatch as well. So everything really flowed in through quite well. And that's why having the different nights, the different theme nights, musically themed nights, is also really important, because each one of them brings in a little different part of the community. So when you enter the space and when you actually attend one of these nights, you find people of similar interests, of that music or like that certain style of dance, for example, and that's where you kind of get to experience it. And for a lot of places, generally, I guess for commercial reasons, they play very a lot more standard commercial type, right? Queer space. That's why it's really important for us to, I guess, try to keep doing what we do and have our fun little take on it, like our little spin on it, because I feel like that adds color to the nightlife scene. So every time you come to one of our parties, you know, it won't be the same.
My final question that I have has to do with this perception, this sentiment that I've been hearing a lot of. And I wanted to know from your perspective whether or not you think it's true. They say that Gen Zs are not clubbing and the next generation, they're not partying.
To me, there is no I mean, there are generations. I've been through multiple generations, right? So I'm not too sure. I mean, it will change, but I don't think it's sort of like not clubbing anymore. It's just the pattern would change somewhat.
Yeah.
The answer that I always kind of hear is like, oh, they're just doing house parties, or they're just gonna Netflix and chill, or they're just gonna stay home and they're not gonna go out because it's a very digital age.
Because they kind of grew up during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they were legal during the pandemic, probably.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of people who turned 18 and they didn't get to go to the club for that drink. You know, they had their drink at home.
Yeah. They didn't actually. I feel like part of nightlife is sneaking into the club. That is part of the culture.
Which does not happen, by the way.
I mean, I feel that generally we are still catering to, you know, our regulars. We obviously have the younger generation that parties with us as well, who are literally just there for like the music or like the performances. But aside from that, if you're not into that, then there are those that crave a different kind of experience, right? Like those in a coffee shop, for example, daytime parties. One that is held in, like, for example, Haw Villa, you know? Like, there are also those that would want things that are different and unique.
Yeah.
You know, so that maybe it will give them something to TikTok about, you know, or...
If anything, your parties also give opportunities for young dancers to dance, young DJs, young performers, young drag queens, young people to get in like that. Because I think one of the most fascinating people I met when I was backstage was, I think, Dinesh, who is just like phenomenal dancer.
Amazing.
Phenomenal. Like, you see his socials and you're like, the person is a star. Like, I was watching Gaga and the Mayhem ball. I was like, Dinesh could be on stage. Like, Dinesh could easily be hired, you know, and to see his process of getting ready and practicing backstage. And he's a very young sort of queer person also trying to find his way, right? So parties like these give them at least that chance to do that, to perform on stage and be completely themselves and be embraced by their own community. So I think as someone who may not party as much, but I also agree as well that nightlife is very, very important. And, you know, I will commit myself to the next baby boy party. Behind the scenes as well, I think Stefan was also sharing something to re-emphasize the importance of consent, especially in nightlife spaces. And that's something that's being worked on as well. So that's something to look forward to. I mean, talk about how you want baby boy parties to be a safe space, but also how nightlife can be a safer space. I just want to like also commend the efforts to also want to do that. Yeah.
Thank you. We tried.
Thank you.
All right, cut. Yay! It was such a good episode. It was so wholesome. I'm Joshua Simon.
I'm Sam Joe.
And we are
The SG Boys, that little gay podcast from Singapore.
Subscribe and find us on Instagram at The SG Boys.